Hi, I'm Stacy Head. I'm a city council member and I am running for my seat again, which is District B on the city council in New Orleans.
Ms. Head, how are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for coming. On behalf of NewOrleansBlack.com, New Orleans First, and Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, we appreciate you taking time.
Thank you very much.
This is what we're calling coffee conversations. So consider this 10-minute time period, just an opportunity for folks. If they did not know you, they can get to learn a little bit about you.
Sounds good.
All right, here we go. So along those lines and getting to know you, take us back a little bit. Go back to the baby Stacy Head. Take us back to Stacy in the beginning, high schools, what she's done, and how she's gotten to where she's at today.
I grew up in a small town north of here. I was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and after law school, or actually during law school, I would come to New Orleans to clerk during the summers. I knew that I wanted to stay somewhere not too far from where my family was, but I needed a city. So New Orleans was the logical choice. So I worked here during the summers, and then after law school, I got a job at Phelps Dunbar. I went to LSU.
Sure.
I got a job at Phelps Dunbar working in the maritime section. I was there for about 5 years. And then I moved on to working for a small commercial litigation firm called Stanley, Flanagan and Reuter. And I was there until after Katrina, when I ran for city council. And I had to take a leave of absence because the job I thought would be 1 year of full-time, and after that I could do a part-time city council job. Unfortunately, for my
city council
bottom line, no, it's not.
Right.
So I haven't gone back to the practice of law, and I don't plan to as long as I'm serving my city.
Okay, well, wonderful. And I just learned something about you. So talk to us a little bit about your experience in maritime and and just from an economic development standpoint, we're hearing a lot about the maritime industry. What's going on out there?
Well, we have got so many natural resources. That's the beauty of New Orleans. I mean, we are diverse in our economy, but we don't take advantage of that.
Right.
We have the Port of New Orleans, which should be a bigger, better, badder port than Houston. If you look back 20, 25 years, Houston was nothing compared to New Orleans.
Right.
Unfortunately, we as a city and as a region have allowed not only Houston to eclipse us, but also we're losing out to Mobile every single day. So one of the things that we've got to assure that we do as a government, and frankly as a region, not just Orleans government, but as a region, is support our port with the public dollars going into the port. The amount of money that we spend as a city and as a state on our port is pennies compared to what other people do and invest in the port. The port brings with it so many important direct jobs. I mean, longshoremen, all the people that have to work at the port, the riverboat pilots, etc. But also,
those are great paying jobs.
They're incredible.
Yeah, I've heard about those jobs.
They're long-term, they're lifetime jobs. They're professions. In addition to that, for everything that we bring into New Orleans, we can then, not necessarily in New Orleans, we do some coffee refining and things like that, and roasting in New Orleans, but some of the things would actually go to some of the surrounding parishes. Chickens, for example. Every time we bring or take chickens away from New Orleans, the state benefits, and that's a great thing because a healthy state means that we have a healthy New Orleans and we have a healthy school system, etc. So the port is unfortunately an economic development resource that we have not treated with the requisite respect that we should have over the last 20 to 25 years, and we need to do that.
Well, we're talking about economic development, something that's very important to our community directly. The audience that we have out here, 60,000 people, 85% of them are African American. And one of the concerns that they have is fairness and equity as we move forward, particularly with this new administration. I think everybody's waiting to see how this is going to shake itself out. The council just did an ordinance of 50% of contracts to local businesses, 35% DBE. Where do you stand on that? And talk a little bit about fairness and equity.
One of the, and I hate to say put it in the negative because I really do want to be positive about this, but unfortunately, one of the negatives out of this recovery is that we have not, thus far, assured that our locals and our DBEs in the area get most of the work coming out of the recovery. You unfortunately see time and time again the contracts going to out-of-state firms, going to national firms, when the most recent one that I learned of was a construction management firm for projects of $5 to $10 million. I can assure you, having done some very small real estate development myself, we have top-notch locals that can do that work. But unfortunately, we gave it to a South Carolina firm.
Wow.
Now, they may hire a few people here and there in New Orleans, but we've got to do a better job of assuring that Of course, if you need a specialist we don't have here, you go outside the
Right.
city. Of course, if the price is significantly different, you go outside the
And
city.
even then, you make them partner with one of the local firms.
Absolutely. We have got
Yeah.
to use the incredible amount of money that has come to New Orleans as a way to grow our economy, to grow the capacity in smaller businesses to get larger and larger and larger, and also to sustain ourselves, because when we keep the money local, we're going to have better streets, we're going to have better schools, we're going to have all the things that we need to have an economy that is
Right.
not wealthy and very poor. In New Orleans, unfortunately, that has been the
It's the
model for a
extremes.
really long time. And if we don't grow a middle class, and the way to grow a middle class is to assure that these billions of recovery dollars do come to New Orleans
That's right.
businesses, not just businesses who happen to have a local office. That's not a New Orleans business.
Right.
A true New Orleans or regional business is what we need to focus on. And that really comes from auditing. We have got to have, whether it's the Inspector General or the Diversity Office within the administration, we've got to have regular audits, and we don't have that now. In fact, when we do intermittent audits, just individual council members, we find that more and more of the work is going 95% to people who are outside of
That's a hot mess.
the region.
Yeah, that's a mess. Let me ask you, I'm going to ask a couple more quicker questions. Now, you are currently a city council person for your district, but I want to go back to that initial moment and then now. I know you personally, many people out here either know you or have seen you in the media. Talk to us a little bit about why, I mean, a guy like me has to question, why does someone as talented as you, that's gone to the schooling that you've gone to, why do you put up with this? Why are you in this fight? What's making Stacy Head say, you know what, I know you and I'll vouch for you, and I'm just curious why you signed up for what we hear about.
I think everyone who is from New Orleans, was from New Orleans before the storm, who came back to New Orleans, has given up and committed to the city because it's bigger than their pocketbook. It is for me. When, after the
That's
storm,
true.
my husband and I had to decide where we're going to live.
Yeah.
Houston was a logical choice. We had experience that would allow us to go to Houston and probably get jobs making more money than we were making
Right,
in New
sure.
Orleans. I mean, they just pay more in Houston,
Right.
and it really doesn't cost that much more to live
Right.
in Houston, if at all. He was working for a large accounting firm. Houston was a logical choice. But we made a commitment to our city. We wanted to be here, and we decided that the beauty of our life in New Orleans, the beauty of this city is worth a lot more than money. So if we're going to be here, we're going to be involved. And I really think that the best way that I could have been involved and have been involved is being on the city council and part of government, because that's the most broken part of our city. The people are cool. The people are great.
Right.
It's our government structure that needs to be fixed.
Let me ask you a direct question, if you don't mind. Why do you believe the media, particularly in the African American community, talk to, why there's a disconnect between Stacy Head and that community?
I think a lot of it
Perceived
is,
one.
yeah, I think it's a delivery thing. Sometimes my message, when you break it down, is the same exact message that that members of the African American community say and want to hear. It's the way that I say it. I'm a real plain spoken.
It's the Bill Cosby effect. If you just come out too straight.
Exactly. And as a public servant, I need to take some ownership of that issue and try to change the way that I deliver my message.
Okay.
Not my message. I will never sell out. I will always be a straight talking, honest, honorable person,
Right.
fighting and working hard
And I think
for
your
my city.
supporters love that part about you.
They do, but I need to be able to reach a slightly broader audience so that my message is well received. I don't want
Right.
people to turn their ears off
Right.
as soon as they hear me start speaking, so that I can't get a message across, which could help us all be healthier and stronger and better. So it's something that I work on regularly, and I'll continue to work on through my service.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I have the same issue. So,
Oh, do ya?
hopefully, but straight talk I think is needed right now. But maybe the way we couch things. But I wanted to give you that opportunity because I know you personally, and I think it's important that people know more about you. Anyway, I wanted to give you an opportunity to close out. I appreciate having an opportunity to sit with you. If you would please, the viewers would like to hear the last words you might have.
Well, thank you for tuning into YouTube or whatever means that you're watching this. Thank you for being engaged. I think one of the most exciting things post-Katrina is that a younger audience has become engaged, and a very diverse audience has become engaged in the way that we're going to do things in the future. I hope that our messages are very much the same. I truly believe that they are, and I would appreciate your support and your vote on February 6th. The day before the Saints win the Super Bowl, and I don't want to jinx that, so I'll knock on wood. Again, I'm Stacy Head, Councilmember Stacy Head. Thank you so much.